Stop everything you're doing. Let me ask you a question. What if a tiny paper plane, something that costs maybe 50 bucks to make, could bankrupt the richest country on earth? You'd say, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Fair enough. But what if I told you it's actually happening right now? Not in a movie, not in a video game, in the real world. There is a country called Iran. Iran is not rich. It doesn't have the biggest military, no fancy jets, no aircraft carriers, no space lasers. But Iran has a plan. A plan so clever, so sneaky, and so simple that it's giving the United States of America, the most powerful country in the history of the world, a massive headache. And the craziest part? It all starts with a cheap little drone that costs less than a used car. Here's the whole thing in one sentence. Iran doesn't want to beat America with muscles. Iran wants to beat America with math. This isn't a fist fight, it's a brain fight, and Iran is playing it very, very smart. Let me show you how. Meet the Shahed drone. When you hear drone, you probably think of those little buzzy things people fly in parks to take cool videos. The Shahed is kind of like that, except it goes boom. Each one costs around $50,000. In military terms, that is pocket change. Some versions go as low as $35,000. Now here's the wild part. Iran produces about 500 of these every single day. Experts estimate Iran currently has around 80,000 ready to go. And these aren't toys. One Shahed can destroy an oil field, knock out a water plant, wreck critical infrastructure. They're small enough to load onto a regular truck. A truck that can drive anywhere, hide anywhere, and launch from anywhere. So how does America defend against this? America uses something called THAAD, Terminal High Altitude Area Defense. Think of it like a giant robot goalkeeper. It sits in one spot, watches the sky, and shoots down anything coming at it. Sounds great. Here's the problem. Each THAAD interceptor missile costs about $1 million. So picture this. A $50,000 drone is flying towards you, and you fire a $1 million missile at it. That's like using a diamond sword to swat a mosquito. And it gets worse. These missiles miss sometimes, so you might need 2 or 3 shots at a single drone. That means America could be spending $2 to $3 million to stop something that cost Iran $50,000. Imagine your friend throws a water balloon that cost him $10. You block it with a gold-plated shield that cost you $500. And sometimes the shield doesn't even work. Who runs out of money first? You do. Obviously, that is exactly Iran's plan. Now you're probably thinking, come on, America is smart. America landed on the moon. America invented the iPhone. Why can't they just build cheap drones and cheap defenses too? Great question. And the answer is part sad, part funny, and part scary. It all goes back to the Cold War, that long 50-year period where America and Russia were basically in a staring contest. Both sides had nuclear weapons powerful enough to blow up the entire planet. So they could never actually fight, because if one side started a real war, both sides would use nuclear bombs and everyone would die. No winners. So instead, they flexed. Look at my giant aircraft carrier. Look at my massive bomber jet. Look at my super expensive missile system. It was like 2 kids who never actually fight but keep showing up with bigger and bigger lunchboxes to impress everyone. The weapons weren't built to win wars. They were built to look scary. And that mindset, build big, build shiny, build expensive, got stuck. It became the American way. But there's another reason, and this one is ugly: corruption. When the military buys a missile that costs $1 million, a lot of people in the middle get a cut. The companies that build it, the politicians who approve it, the generals who sign off. If that missile only cost $1,000, their cut would be tiny. If it costs $1 million, their cut is huge. So nobody in the system actually wants cheap weapons. Cheap weapons mean less money for them. And that's why America is stuck with expensive, slow, flashy weapons in a world where cheap, fast, and simple is winning. Now let's talk about something most people completely ignore: water. Plain old water. In most of the world, it's not a big deal. You turn on the tap and water comes out. But in the Middle East, water is everything. There's a measurement called water stress. It tracks how much water a country uses compared to how much nature provides. If you're at 100%, you're using every drop nature gives you. Above 100% means you're using more water than naturally exists. You need machines to make it. Countries like Canada and Brazil sit well below 100%. Now look at the Middle East. Egypt is at 6,420%, Saudi Arabia at 883%, Bahrain close to 4,000%, And Dubai, 17,000%. Read that again, 17,000%. Imagine your home naturally gets 1 cup of water a day, but your family uses 17,000 cups. Where does all that extra water come from? Giant machines called desalination plants that take salty ocean water and turn it into fresh drinking water. Without these machines, these countries literally cannot survive. No drinking water, no farming, no life. Now remember those cheap Shahed drones? One drone, $50,000. Suddenly millions of people have no water. Iran doesn't need to beat a single American jet or fight a single American soldier. It just needs to break the water machines. No water, no life. Game over. Before you think Iran is untouchable though, let's be fair, Iran has serious cracks too. First, water. Iran's own water stress sits at 72%, not 17,000%, but still dangerous. Here's proof. Lake Urmia in northern Iran used to be the 6th largest saltwater lake in the entire world. Massive, beautiful, full of water. That was 1984. By 2004, it had nearly completely dried up. You could walk across what used to be deep water, just cracked earth and dust where a great lake once stood. America and Israel know this, and they have a plan to use it. The second crack, Iran is not one unified group of people. At the center are Persians, but along the borders are Kurds, Arabs, Turks, and around 10 other ethnic groups, communities that sometimes feel closer to neighboring countries than to Tehran. Imagine a big house with 11 different families. Some of those families actually like the neighbors next door more than the people they live with. Now cut off the water supply. What happens? Chaos. Everyone fights everyone. And that is exactly America and Israel's strategy. Dry up Iran's water, turn the ethnic groups against each other, and break Iran into fragments too busy fighting themselves to threaten anyone. It's a dark plan, one that nobody talks about publicly because if you said it out loud, people would ask hard questions. But Iran isn't just sitting there waiting to be destroyed. Iran has a bold countermove. In the Muslim world, there are two main groups, Sunni and Shia. Think of it like two fan bases following the same sport, but supporting different teams. Same religion, different traditions, different leadership. About 90% of Muslims worldwide, roughly 2 billion people, are Sunni. Iran is one of the very few majority Shia countries. But Shia Muslims aren't only in Iran. They're spread across Pakistan, Iraq, Bahrain, Lebanon, and many other places. Iran's first move is to unite all Shia people everywhere against American influence, create a global uprising, and get Shia communities in every country to push back. And it's already happening. Shia groups have stormed American embassies in Pakistan. There have been attacks on American interests in Iraq and protests across multiple countries. This is not a future plan. It's unfolding right now. But Iran's even bigger move is this. Most Muslim-majority countries are run by autocrats, kings, military strongmen, dictators, who stay in power because America backs them with weapons, money, and protection. In return, these leaders do whatever America wants. But the people living under those governments, they hate their rulers. They feel crushed and ignored. Iran's plan is to channel that anger, help those populations rise up, and overthrow the American-backed leaders. When the dust settles, Iran becomes the leader, not just of the Shia world, but of the entire Muslim world. This vision has a name, Pax Islamica, a united Islamic world, free from American control. If that happens, America loses its grip on the Middle East forever. Now here it is, the big one, the plan everything else feeds into. Destroy the GCC. The GCC, Gulf Cooperation Council, is the club of wealthy Gulf states, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, and Oman. Why does the GCC matter so much? Because the GCC is the engine keeping America's economy running, and most people have absolutely no idea. Here's how it works. GCC countries sell oil to the world, and they sell it in US dollars. Not euros, not yuan, dollars. This is a massive deal because it means every country on Earth needs US dollars to buy oil, and that demand keeps the dollar strong and powerful. Then, once the GCC countries collect all those dollars, they invest them in the American stock market. Companies like Apple, Google, Nvidia, Microsoft, their investment inflates those valuations and America gets richer. Since 2012, GCC money flowing into American markets has been exploding, billions every year. In fact, 7 US companies, mostly tech and AI giants, account for roughly a quarter of the stock market's total growth, and the GCC is heavily invested in all 7. Now here's where Iran's plan becomes crystal clear. What if Iran destroys the GCC? Not with soldiers, not with tanks, with drones, water attacks, and chaos. If the GCC is under constant attack, oil stops flowing smoothly, dollar revenues collapse, and whatever money remains gets spent on survival. Weapons, rebuilding, defense. Investment into American markets stops. The money pipeline to those 7 companies dries up. The stock market crashes. Investors panic and pull out. And when the stock market crashes, the entire American economy crashes with it. Think of it like a cricket team with 7 superstar players. The fans, sponsors, and TV deals all exist because of those 7. Now all 7 quit at once. Fans leave, sponsors vanish, broadcast collapse, the whole league falls apart. Iran doesn't need to send a single soldier to American soil. No missiles aimed at New York or Washington. It just needs to break the chain. Break the GCC, break the oil flow, break the dollar flow, break the stock market, break the wallet. And would the rest of the world just sit and watch? Not a chance. Europe stopped buying Russian oil and gas after the Ukraine war. So where does Europe get its energy now? From the GCC. If the GCC falls, Europe has no energy. Factories shut down, lights go out, economies collapse. Europe has no choice but to join this fight. Their survival depends on it. Russia, meanwhile, cannot afford to let Iran fall. If America and Israel successfully dismantle Iran, Russia knows it's next. So Russia backs Iran, not out of friendship, but out of self-preservation. And China? China is playing it cool, staying neutral, watching from the sidelines. Their system is set up so that whoever wins, China does business with them. This isn't just a Middle East problem. The Middle East conflict and the Ukraine war are connected. 2 different chessboards, same players, same stakes. Energy, water, money, power. That's what this is all about. Zoom out and you see 2 opposing plans already in motion. On one side, America and Israel. Break Iran into pieces, dry up their water, split their people, keep the GCC safe, keep the money flowing, stay on top. On the other side, Iran used cheap drones to drain America's financial reserves, destroy GCC infrastructure, unite the Muslim world, cut the money pipeline, crash the stock market, and bring America to its knees without ever setting foot on American soil. 2 plans, 2 visions, completely opposed, and both already underway. This is not a movie. There is no script, no guaranteed ending. The outcome hasn't been written yet. And it won't just affect Iran or America. It will affect every country on this planet. Your country, your city, your life. Energy prices, food prices, job markets, everything is connected. So stay informed, stay curious, and ask questions. Don't just read headlines. Understand the why behind the news. Because in a world this complicated, the most powerful thing you can have isn't a drone or a missile. It's understanding.